Her voice acting is great here, really does a fantastic job of relaying the pleasant sounding but angry tone. Oh, you know I'd be loving me some city scenery shots! One of the more organic ways I've seen to bring focus back onto another character. Not sweeping on the spot! Not playing this out for several episodes. Oh, he knows, but she doesn't know he knows, and you keep hinting at it and people playing dumb not realizing. I prefer this. Ha! She did the same thing with her voice. They got some talented ladies on this one. Animating multiple characters moving within one scene. Putting actual writing in here and not just scribbles, which they easily could get away with. Putting actual pictures in picture frames. One of the biggest things in the whole show, in all honesty. Love how they use logical lore within their story to explain away why the guild couldn't help before when they were attacked at their home and now in the pleasure quarter as well. Normally this wouldn't get a win, but I thought the amount that went into the drawing was well worth it. What's a very simple but very clever way of making us like her already? She knows she's feeling down and so she went out of her way to get her something from home. Getting to learn quite a huge chunk of background information on her character was a welcome moment for someone who hadn't been overly discussed before now, aside from the hero/prostitute conversation. It's a nice attribute of his often shown, his extreme empathy. He cannot hear this, know what he knows, and yet continue to stand by and do nothing, and I like that about him. For the year, that's some good CGI, and they use it well by only having it be on screen for a few seconds. They do a beautiful job on internal set design for this inn/pub. Tables with unique markings on them from repeated use by customers, lighting that is currently off, and so much more detail. Freshley I don't mind where this is going. Belle will, but I don't. Just like in Jobless Reincarnation, the studio seems to often pick the harder ways to animate rather than simply zooming in on them speaking and into the next scene to ease the workload. Back-to-back fresh battles. Smells great, so much animation goodness, and none of it is repeated. Freshly baked battles! Credit as well for the awesome sound effects, really hard hitting and thumping. Well, what I thought sounded awesome in practice actually looks pretty damn horrible. That's well played. Okay, that was insanely adorable, no other way to describe that. Really glad they added this, as I must admit, when the Toads woman burst in screaming her name after Belle had escaped, I was like, how the hell does she know it's her of all people? And now we know. They cast all semblance of jokes aside when you see what she'd done in that room to someone already. That was no laughing matter, so again, that's seriously well done. I tell you, for someone I barely know, the writing has clearly been well done enough to make this hit me. Easy win here for learning now why they actually want her and what the plans are with her. Interestingly, it kind of reveals plans for the whole season up to probably the 3/4 mark too. Whilst it's good to see her side of events and her thought process, I especially loved the music here. What an excellent choice that was! Wow, there's so much darkness this second season. I'm a fan. I like it when stories lean into their darker sides, and this one really is. Can't even show any of what they did to her telling the story. I love how this is low-key her way of trying to force and prod him into rescuing her because she can't outright go against her goddess's orders. The studio has done a great job so far this season of showing instead of telling by using subtle facial reactions such as this here to let us the viewer know how she really feels. In line with reality, it's good to see him struggling with the events that just happened on the roof, but also by him recalling earlier moments shared between them causing him pain. No idea what that is, but it's a badass sounding sound effect.
Mikoto-san, ごめんなさい。僕はあの人を助けに行きます。またいつか強くなってこの町に帰ってきましょう。
And he's a badass sounding boy for doing this too. And this nicely goes back to a win from the first half video where I explained why people would love to join their little family because they really do fight for what's right, and like right here. I must admit it's happening a little quicker than I thought, but I'm highly hyped by how a plan is already being put into motion to rescue her. I'm putting this out there, this anime has some bloody brilliant sounding music. Normally anime music doesn't leap out at me very often, but this one has done so several times. I love it. Naro, あの人の英雄に See what I'm saying? A very badass statement and attack from a cool dude. He keeps rising in my estimations. Not running on the spot again. Not running on the digging spot either. I don't really recall who this dude is, but that was one of the most sick attacks of the entire season to date, bruh. Have another win here for again choosing the most difficult way of doing the animation, but also for the effects containing no CGI that I could see. That's awesome. Often overlooked is environmental damage effects, and they did two back-to-back right here that looks glorious. I actually find the internal politics of this world quite interesting, likely due to its game-like elements. Pretty awesome to now be getting introduced to various new forces and or characters. This anime and its story do a good job of revealing the lore in bits and bobs and not all at once. For example here, I had no clue what this was until this very point. Definitely an easy win for her showing her real self at long last, letting all of the emotions flow out of her and how she really thinks and feels about the life she's been forced to lead here. She's been absolutely awesome this episode, and this grappling hook swinging move she did only sold me on that even more. This fight gets a win, but this is literally all I could show due to the nakedness on display. First 2 max wins of the video goes to this moment, not only because it was quite the shock attack from her, but mainly due to the outstanding voice acting chops of both of their performances there. Well now, starting off the episode with a literal bang as Freya is on her way to kick some attractive ass. Super hyped up start to the episode out of nowhere. This is just the kind of thing I was hoping he was going to say when the moment came, and it was just as good as I'd hoped it'd be. She cast it on you, boy. We all knew it was very, very likely in this situation, and yet it was still awesome when it happened. And just like with win number 148, at the same time, this is just what I was hoping to hear from her at the end of it all, and it was, again, just as great as I'd hoped. It's interesting how they visually display what difference an extra level makes. Her attacks have far less impact than they did on him before, yet still affect the world around him the same amount. Their war and alliances make for an interesting part of the story, as it does make you wonder, why would he do this for her when there's seemingly no connection? See what I'm saying? He was on the ropes and suddenly he comes along and saves him. What's going on? There it is again. They do a good job of showing the impact affecting the other person when there's a level difference. We've seen the difference a single level can make in a battle. Now we see what multiple levels looks like. That's badass too, though. I might be totally misreading the situation, but to me, it kind of looked like she was trying to figure out if her new family can actually take care of her with strength. Could be wrong, but if so, that's awesome. As a story running behind the main story, I do like that for some reason she's so obsessed by him, I must say. I gotta admit, the sound effects are next level in this one. Genuinely very impressed. More great sound effects, but even better visual effects too. In fact, that was so well done between those two things combined that they can have 2 max wins for it. Honestly, I don't think that could have been done in any better of a way than that. The dodge and the simple slap. I mean, that was actually really awesome, was it not? Getting to see what happens when a god is taken out in this world, and that they can't come back either. Between the music and the words, that made for a great end to this part of the story. Seriously well done. Oddly somehow managing to do better CGI in this sweeping shot than I saw during Shield Hero's second season with the start to the battle against the Spirit Tortoise. Not a clue what the start of this episode is about, but that attack and its effects was beautiful.
巨大といっても数だけの話。ただの兵士が何千人いようが、ステータスを極めた冒険者には及びもしない。
I'm impressed that the law allows for large-scale battles such as this to take place. In fact, it was so wild to me that I legit got confused at the start of the episode thinking it's another anime.
責任取りなよ、ベルクラネル。このヘッポコに何かあったらただじゃおかないからね。
Two wins here. Firstly, it's for me being right about everything regarding her. Super totes proud of that and everything. But secondly, that lovely ickle upward swipe get away from Belcom was amazing.
今さら野暮な真似しなくても、あの二人がそう信じて乗り越えたんだからさ。
Plot twist that she wasn't even doing sex type work in the first place.
あの時の春姫ちゃんのようにね。三大クエストとは世界がオラリオに求める最大の悲願だ。
Two wins again. Firstly, I enjoyed a big lore drop here, potentially affecting the whole story in a big way. And also another one here for the nice added background detail of him giving Belle food and he's eating it. I like stuff like that a lot.
こうなっている。なぜこうある我が軍がこんなにも押されているのだ。
Ranga the pupster from Tensura. Maid kawaii.
今後僕のファミリアでは男女が手を触れ合うのは禁止だ。いいね。
It's genuinely nice to see some comedy after the last few episodes were pretty damn serious.
とある素敵な女神がある日君に求愛したらなんて答える？
いや、断りますけど。
This was a bit of a twist for me. For him to just say it outright too, though. Even if he did have a good reason. Actually, whilst I'm here, take one more for the whole scene too. It was very funny. Clearly my boy is starting his own harem without knowing it, and it's awesome.
神を人質。いや、神質に取り、オラリオの連中に降伏を迫るのだ。
Taking a hostage. That's so stupid, but so good. Ah! Showed that whole moment as I thought the market was excellently done. Looked great and lots of movement through the scene. Actually reminded me of Jobless Reincarnation, really. Man, is it just me or is that not a rather insane amount of detail to put into a drink?
完璧な変装だろう。
声がでかい。変装って言ってもローブかぶっただけじゃないですか。
For me, these jokes just work. It's exactly my kind of dumb humour that I love. The whole capturing Hestia scene. I swear, this guy is the main source of comedy in this series.
山越えもせなあかんし、下手に追えば遭難する。
情けない話だが。
Do you see what I'm talking about from before where I mentioned how good the music is and how often it stands out?
バレンのニガシ君。
What did she call her? That's so good. A nearly photorealistic looking house out of nowhere. I remain shocked that the random house in the middle of nowhere has such insanely high quality detail put into it. They can take a win here for the village as a whole. I'm genuinely stunned. It all looks so pretty for an anime that has always been dungeons and of course the city. Really well done. It's lovely and homely.
この村に欠けた鱗が落ちてきたんだってさ。木の小さいの。村には10個ばかりあるかね。あの黒竜様の鱗だからね。大抵のモンスターはビビっちまうのさ。
Such a great writer, to my mind, to craft this lore into your story about the dragon scales dropping onto the village as it fled a battle long ago, and they've created monster warts from them.
アイズさん。
Again, showing and not telling. Oh, she looks bad. Perhaps her past had something to do with the dragon.
私は昔とある女神様の眷属でした。私はあの方を守れなかった。
Big fan of massively de-aging him for this flashback sequence. Was oddly cool to see him like a strong adventurer back then compared to now. Quite sad in a way too. Have another for his story as a whole, how he lives with regret at being unable to save her that day, and how he wants Belle to protect his own goddess. The very cute and sweet scene here between these two feels worthy of that win for bringing them slightly together in what she sees as a shared fondness over what makes Belle, Belle. Voice acting so damn good you'd think the studio made her run on a treadmill before recording.
ありがとう、カム。 私を愛してくれて。あなたを愛している。
愛して。
Two max wins here. Firstly, it's for showing the difference here between mortals and a celestial being in how they reacted, and also because it was genuinely so sad. Showing him young? Super nice touch.
たとえ死が僕たちを引き離したとしても、僕は必ず君に会いに行く。ずっと一緒にいるよ、ベル君。
I actually found this a stupidly wholesome moment, the idea of her still loving him as an old man and his reaction, her saying even in death she'll find him no longer how long it takes. Man. As always, have one here for going without an ED to give us this lovely end to the season moment. Matthew Blancet, Nick Wyndham, Lightly Winter, Christopher Willis, Draki, Fancy Turtle, Kepan, Liam Knight, Luis Minito, Marquez, Keeper, The Epic Commander, Bird Without a Word, Brandon Crea, Brian Bayot, Christian Torassa, Commander Cyrus, Doggos for Life, Dragonstorm 35, Emmanuel Gonzalez, Aaron Winters, I Am Here, Your Edvinson, Kevin Alston, Cumfroik, Kylie Welp, Lisa Marie Timp, Magnus, Nathan Burr, Peter Milligan, Satakayari, Sionx 44, Sean, Sheriff Yuchiya, The 100s, Elemental Awards, Wicken Faye, Ali 50, Brainless Ben, Cecilia, Cloud Garden, Cedric, Dark Lord Bloody Soul, Def the Kid 123, Devon, Eclipse Mage, Garrett Vermeesh, Gibbs, Hoved Loads Ritter, Israel Caldera, Jason Davies, John, Juffer 6263, Kelnock, Kevin Nelter, Kai 158, Kyle Jones, Laxor, Laxus, Liam Gagati, Lifty, Lionel Schultz, Marvin, Michael Lewis, Mr. Firecool, Natsu Dragneel, Nick Monaco, Nick Pell, 9028, Oliver Smiley Reacts, Q Flash, Ryan DeVerez, Sentimento, Storm 970, TRS, The Danish Muggle, Tricky Nicky, Willyman,